Hey guys, what is going on? Dylan here. I have been trying to do a This Week in Destiny in a Minute video for a bit now, and I just can't do it. There's so much information, and even I just tried to record this video a second ago to go over everything, and it's just too long. So we're gonna go through this kind of quick, okay? There has been a ton of changes to weapons. I'm gonna be doing some damage testing videos in the future, but the sandbox as we know it is changing drastically. So let's start with first things first. If you don't know, now you do. Mass Effect Collab is currently available. So that means you can go to the Eververse store and you can get the free bundle that includes a ship, Sparrow, and a ghost. The armor sets are going to be worth silver still. Sandbox changes. Nerfs to Threaded Spectre. Nerfs to Threadlings. I think Arcane Needle gets a little bit of a buff. Fixing some issues with Restoration and Radiant. So specifically with these two fragments here, they're getting a little bit of a change. Consecration is getting a pretty big buff. I just did a build with Consecration. You should go check out that build on my channel. It's probably the most fun build I've made in the game. Gunpowder Gamble gets a little bit of a buff, so they don't want you accidentally killing yourself with Gunpowder Gamble. Weapon changes. Heavy burst hand cannons are fixing an issue with that. I guess specifically on mouse and keyboard there were some issues. Bows are getting nerfed, finally. Aim assist issues are getting changed with that. Also getting a 15% damage nerf. You'll see that later on. Auto rifles. Breakneck is getting target lock. That was supposed to be there. It's not. Lightweight scout rifles increase base damage by 5%. Sniper rifles are getting an aim assist debuff by 10%. This one I'm very interested in. I'm going to be doing a damage testing video in the future again with rocket launchers. Precision rocket launchers are going to be increased their reserve ammo by 2. And they're going to be getting a reduced damage penalty from 10% to 5%. So those might be some of the hardest hitting rocket launchers, maybe. High impact, increased reserve ammo by 2. Now deals more detonation damage, but less impact for roughly the same total damage. I'm going to have to look into that, see exactly what that means for high impact rocket launchers as well. Again, on my channel, look out for a future damage testing video. Heavy grenade launchers. I'm pretty sure they just killed heavy grenade launchers. I don't know. Maybe they did. But spike grenades impact damage is now going from a buff of 50% down to 12.5. I guess they wanted you to have a little bit more flexibility when it came to which type of grenade. The spike grenades obviously were running rampant and the most popular one. But increased direct impact damage by 10%. And then increased detonation damage by 5%. So I may be doing a grenade launcher testing video as well. I might go farm some grenade launchers that have things other than spike grenades to see how really they're affected. Wave frames are getting a buff by 20% and increased wave length width by 40% for heavy wave frames. Caster swords are also getting a little bit of a buff as well. Exotics, changing the recoil pattern for Vigilance Wing. Vex Smith class is getting an ADS damage fall off scalar debuff from 1.5 to 1.7, I think is what I... Yes. Whatever. Okay, Wish Ender is getting a debuff. True Sight will now deactivate if you leave it ADS for longer than 3 seconds. You have to reactivate, or you have to fully redraw your bow to reactivate. I still think it needs a bigger nerf than that. I keep saying debuff. It needs a bigger nerf than that, but it's a start. Edge of Action increases damage resistance in PvE against all combatants except bosses to 85%, and its resistance against bosses to 15%. Manicore stuff. I'm going to talk about the Manicore. Exdirus, increased impact damage against PvE enemies by 5% or 50%. I might look at a build with Exdirus potentially. Increased maximum rate of fire of 17%. Interesting. Going to look at that. By the way, all these changes are happening on March 5th. All these sandbox changes are going into effect on March 5th, so our next reset. Perks. All right. Heal Clip now grants Cure 2, while still granting Cure 1 to nearby allies. Trench Barrel can now be activated by dealing range with melee attacks. Barrel Constrictor is not a one-shot thing. It lasts for 7.5 seconds. If it's enhanced, 8.5. Going to be looking into that. Loose Change is getting a change. Dual Loader removed the reload speed penalty. I like Dual Loader. Text Balance Stock now grants plus 20 range, so might look at those weapons. Hockey Breach Armaments are now changing some things up. Now work against Void Souls, Strand Clones, Cabal Projection Shields, and Briggs. Sundering getting a change. Jesus, so much stuff. Hatchling is getting a little bit of a buff. Instead of the perk triggering with a precision kill, it also can now trigger with 3 non-precision kills. Target Lock now activates later in the magazine for SMGs, so a little bit of a nerf there. Envious Assassin is getting a nerf down from 150 to 100, or 3 times down to from 4. Bait and switch, getting a nerf from 35% to 30. 1-2 punch now correctly deactivates after dealing damage with a powered melee. So much stuff. I'm not going to read through all this, but I'm not going to read through all this. If you want to, here it is. But major changes coming to Crucible. Okay, I'm going to get to the good point. Where's it at? So player health is now going from 70 to 100, which means instead of having 200 health and shield combo with max resilience, you're now going to go up to 230 with a shield with health and shield with max resilience. Melee, grenade, and class ability cooldowns have a 15% ability applied. Super cooldowns have a 20% ability applied. So they're trying to get away from the ability and super play, and they want to focus more on gunplay, which I'm personally a fan of. Supers have increased damage. Melees have increased damage. Grenade arc flux specifically has increased damage. Pulse rifles, auto rifles, sidearms, and scout rifles increase crit damage of 14%. Hand cannons increase crit damage by 10. Reduced body shot damage by 5. Reduced flinch. Explosive payload as well. Submachine guns increase crit by 12.5. Reduced body shot damage by 3. Bows reduced base damage by 15%. I mentioned this earlier, just across the board, 15%. Huge win. Bows are running too crazy. Check yourselves. Special ammo acquisition. This is a huge change. You will start the game, no matter what, with 2 kills worth of special ammo. And instead of getting special ammo each time you respawn, it'll be the transmat meter that you saw in Checkmate. You'll get points for kills, assists, and completing objectives. Getting 100 points will get you 2 more rounds of special ammo. So, throughout the entire game, you start the match with 2 rounds of special. You will not respawn with 2 rounds of special. You will not be able to pick up special from dead Guardians. It is straight up. So here it says, kills from special ammo weapons, they will not grant you any progress. Jumping off the map will subtract from your meter. Ammo is not dropped on death. You will lose special ammo you have not earned when you are defeated or revived. Earned special ammo will carry over between rounds. Swapping from double primary weapons to a special ammo weapon will reset your special ammo meter progress. Special weapon archetypes, trace rifles, shotguns, and fusion rifles increase base damage by 20%. Glaives increase projectile damage by 20% and increase melee by 16%. Heavy grenade launchers reduce detonation damage by 5% and increased machine guns by 20%. This is going to be for PvP specifically, for Crucible. These are all Crucible changes. Fighting Lion, decreased damage versus players in Crucible by 20%. Devil's Ruin, increased damage to players by 15%. Crimson, reduced flinch dealt to players by projectile impact by 17.5%. Forerunner, increased damage versus players in Crucible by 20%. And Symmetry, increased revolution damage versus players in Crucible by 16%. Tons of changes. The whole meta is going to be flip-flopping and switching around. Bows are getting a massive, massive nerf. It's crazy. So those are all the sandbox changes. Happy Lunar New Year. You can get, with this code right here, you see the code right here, you can get this emblem. It's pretty cool. Go to Bungie.net, enter in the code, redeem a code, get that. You got all this stuff currently in the Eververse store. Next Trials map coming up is Dead Cliffs. So I will be seeing you all this weekend in Dead Cliffs. And right now, if you do not have any of the bundles, if you're a free-to-play player, you can get literally every single thing the game has to offer. Everything in the Humble Bundle is what it's called for $40. Which includes Ghost of the Deep Warlords Ruin Dungeon. Okay, so it includes all the dungeons. Includes everything. It's the entire thing. Humble Bundle, $40, and that's all we got. So I'm sorry I had to do the whole TWID in a minute video this way. This is just going to be TWID. I'm explaining it all. Major, major changes. Special is completely changing. It's kind of crazy. It's like Checkmate's going to be everywhere now. Basically, that's like everything is now Checkmate. And bows are getting nerfed. I'm going to be doing some damage testing videos in the future when it comes to rocket launchers and grenade launchers, probably just to kind of see where they stand in the current meta. Look out for those videos. Again, I'm sorry. I apologize for doing the video this way. I hope you guys stuck around to the end. Thank you for watching. If you did, I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.